I mean, I guess what's sad is growing up, I didn't really know a lot of like names of people. I knew bands, but then like as far as obviously like your Tommy Lee and what's his name, Rick. It's gonna piss me off. Poison's drummer, I like obviously Neil Peart. Some of your big ones, but it's like as far as I got older and got back into drumming, this more modern time. A Day to Remember's drummer. There's 66. I don't know his real name, but 66 Samus is his YouTube name. He's more of like real heavy metal, and I like because he's more like charismatic. He's a good entertainer, but like, and where I don't know a lot of like your technical terms as far as like I guess your breakdowns of like notes and whatnot. He's does a good job of explaining it, but also being entertaining, I guess. But then Ellis DePardio, Siberiano, obviously everyone knows him whether you're into drums or not. But
Yeah.
it's kind of some of like your basics, I guess. For me, I don't know. I just never. I'm bad with names. I kind of just like bands, and then if I could play along to them, or I would just I don't know. I just like them as a whole. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. All right, Wyvern's in here. Dakota.
More Swifties.
More Swifties, yeah. No, Wyvern's more of a Sabrina Carpenter kind of guy. No.
I guess I could just a caveat. I guess I could go back on that same question for you, but in a guitar sense.
Yeah,
Your favorite
so
guitar
for
or
me,
inspiration, whatever.
guitarists, there's a lot of them. Like Nuno, Eddie Van Halen, Jackie Vincent, George Lynch, all of the 80s guys pretty much. There's one guy, Barron, I was into him for a long time because I did like a lot of the exercises to like help with my speed and stuff. So he was really inspirational for me too.
Would you feel like you try to model your playing or a style after someone, or kind of just a good, just try, kind of just depending the song or what you're trying to play?
Um, I really like the 80s like guitar style, like the solos and stuff like
Yeah.
from the 80s. I wouldn't say I really like modeled my playing after anybody though. I haven't like really started like working on like my own sound or anything yet. So yeah.
No, I get that, and that's where I'm kind of trying to figure my own because my problem is creativity. I could be
Mine too.
playing, or if I'm just doing my own stuff, it's like all my stuff it typically results back around to the same beat that I just can't break myself from. I go start different, and then it just eventually, as I get tired or I just start running out of, so everything just starts to sound the same. So I'm terrible at making my own, my own stuff. So that's why I kind of, again, with what we're playing, I like a lot of their stuff is the similar way. It makes it easier for me just because it's not basic, but it's just kind of a similar beat, but just with its
Yeah.
own little flares here and there. I mean, I know the guitaring is a little different, but as far as the drumming side, it's kind of helps me
Mhm.
where I'm trying to learn all this stuff on the fly, and because I don't know how to read music aside from like basic sheet music, or if I know what I'm looking at, if I can hear it, but if I'm struggling, look at it, then okay, I might be able to piece it together. But give me some raw sheet music, and I can't help you.
Yeah, no, I get you on the creative, like coming up with stuff thing. Yeah, because I'm like the same way. Yeah.
And it's hard, especially trying to, I have a friend at work who's a big, really good guitar player. We talk about just music as a whole across all genres. And I feel like at some point things are going to eventually loop back around because you're just going to run out of stuff to, whether it's lyrics, beats, just music in general. I feel like, I mean, there are already a lot of songs that just sound similar and people kind of call them out on it, but it's like, well, what else can we write? I mean, it's really
Yeah.
hard to, you know, create something totally new unless you're just creating a whole new genre. So I
Yeah.
mean, if you're not doing that, it's kind of eventually it's going to sound the same. Whether it's metalcore, death, normal rock, whatever it is, country. I mean, especially country, it's all the same style of song. It's girlfriend left me, party, whatever. But it's just a
Yeah.
little twang in there.
Yeah, I think that's what my problem is with the creative thing is like I try to come up with something, but then I'm like, oh wait, this already kind of sounds like that, so like I can't use it or whatever. So then I'm like trying to come up with something that doesn't sound like something, and it's
Yeah.
just tough.
And sometimes it really just comes down to it is what it is. Like I think I try to I'm even as far as lyrics, I've never written my own song, but just throughout the day I'll think of something. But it's like okay, well I got this quarter of a chorus, but then it's like, okay, well if I word it this way, well it sounds like this song, or it's kind of similar to this, and it's just hard, especially when I say it's hard enough as a your job is a songwriter versus let me just try to think of something. It was like you start coming on to something, bam, it's like South Park. The Simpsons already did it.
Yeah.
Trying to think, like, and I wish. I mean, just going back to like I guess the learning side. I wish I would have been able to take lessons growing up. And I feel like, I watch kids. It's I'm sure it's the same in the guitar scene. It's just ridiculous. These kids who start at 5, 6, 7 years old, and they get to your age, and they're god tier. But then as they get to my age, it's like Jesus Christ. You've been doing this for 20 something years already, and
Yeah.
where I took such a long break, I probably stopped playing my senior year of high school. So was at 18, and then I probably picked it back up at 28. So a good 10-year gap of really just zero playing. Of just I listen to music, that's it. But maybe once or twice in between I played, but then I kind of just had to pick it back up, relearn, and I'm listening to all these songs that like the new music I liked is like that's just way out of my skill range. As far as getting into your double strokes with the pedals or all your different techniques, it's just way beyond me. So that's why I always kind of catered back to again the 80s music, or I like the 2000s modern hard rock, like your Trapped, Three Doors Down, that style. But some of it's just mind blowing, and it's annoying. Like I try to pick it up and I can't. Whether it's me or I can't say my equipment's bad, but um, I mean you can have a thousand, two, three, $4,000 guitar, but if you can't play it right, it doesn't matter how expensive it is.
Yeah. So
So
what got you into playing the drums?
my dad played when he was younger, and then I really started in the 5th grade. I had a friend that played, and he kind of showed me just a basic 3-note pattern, or I guess a four on the floor pad, just a basic, your most simple beat. And then I eventually, going into 6th grade, I kind of learned from my friend, and then my mom's stepbrother. He played in a Christian. He had a wicked drum set. And he was 17, 18, but he played in the church band. And I kind of would go to their house. I'd kind of play, but still, I never really progressed. It was just the same beat. And then it was 6th grade when I finally got my own drum set. But it was at Christmas time, which I had an F in my report card which in that point it was every 6 weeks we got a report card. So everyone from the first report card throughout the year had an F in my report card, except for my very last one. But I had a drum set that sat in the box from Christmas Day to the last day of school. It just sat there, and it's just I couldn't. It was either if I got my grade up in if I had an F in math, the next report card it was in science. It just like it kept alternating. And so then, I mean, it was just from then on. I didn't have no urge or like desire to really learn. I mean, before I'm getting it, but it was just, hey, I got it, and then I kind of had an idea on how to play, and then it just went from there.
Yeah.
It was like it was a Walmart brand, like First Act. That was the brand of my first drum set. And my dad, he very first night, he busted. It was cheap sticks, and very first night, bam, broke my stick in half.
Oh
And
my
so for
god.
probably I'd say at least a couple weeks to a couple months, I played with 1.5 sticks.
Wow.
I can't remember if they were taped together or uh or if I just played with like just like that half stick, and it was what it was. And then when he finally, because we didn't have a lot of money growing up, so when he finally bought me a new set of sticks, I don't know what size. I think my dad just grabbed a set, and they were thick, probably at least a good, probably if you take like a nickel or so, maybe a little bit bigger than a nickel. That's how like thick around
Wow.
it was. It was a thick stick, probably more for like I don't know. I don't want to say marching band, but um, and then it kind of just progressed. So from 6th grade on to senior year, I mean, that's all I did was just play. And eventually my dad, so for my mom's same stepbrother, he got a even bigger drum set. So they sold my dad or us. It was just a basic 5-piece Pearl export series, which my dad was mad because he gave us a hi hat stand. Didn't have no hardware, so I still used my had to use my cheap first act stand. He didn't give us a snare, so I still had my cheap. I think the snare on the actual drum was busted, so it was just playing the drum, like it didn't even work anymore. And then that was it. I think I might have had just one cymbal, and I think my other cymbal was like a hi hat cymbal that was cracked. And I was able to like invert it, so it kind of looked like a real cheap ghetto China cymbal. I literally just pushed it in and just hung it there. And I played a talent show with that drum. Well, two talent shows actually. I did it 8th grade and 10th grade. I got third place in 8th grade, and I didn't even place in high school. But it was just, there were so many kids, it wasn't even funny. I don't even know how they graded it, but you'd have people playing in multiple different groups or whatever, just kind of just really just getting in where they fit in. And I just did my one song, and I was scared because 8th grade was one thing. Okay, we did the one set for the our class because it went from like kindergarten to 5th grade, 6th to 8th, and then high school was 9th through 12th. So we did one for 8th to 8th grade class, and we redid it for um the rest of the school. And I was nervous in 8th grade because when I did, because it didn't make sense. We had to do a audition to get into the talent show. I don't know if they thought it was going to get so saturated with just random people doing whatever. So I mean, I guess they wanted to make sure people who, I don't want to say had a talent, but wasn't just going to get up there and I guess jerk around. And I remember playing, and I did a Nickelback song, and I was playing, and it was just on our auditorium stage was whatever that hardwood. So I'm playing as like my drum set is like sliding backwards. So I remember like mid song, I had to like reach, grab my bass drum, and and pull it back to me, and and finish playing. And then yeah, it was just all throughout just school. That's all I did was just played, and then I think when Avenged Sevenfold's Nightmare album came out, that was one of my first like hearing the double bass, and I was mind blown. And I worked at McDonald's at the time, so I eventually bought one, and I still didn't know what I was doing. I kind of just would just smash my feet together, and I would hope it sounded good. Again, I never knew about YouTube wasn't really a thing at that time, so I couldn't just go pull up some. I mean, it might have been there, but it wasn't as what it is now. So I didn't. There was no. I didn't think to search technique and how to do this or how to play that. I'd watch a cover maybe if I could. I'd have to wait for pretty much the video to load all the way because we had dial up, and then I could finally watch the video. And by that point, it's like I wasn't even interested in the video anymore. And that's just how it was. My dad could play, but he was kind of the same. He kind of just picked it up all by ear. And then, granted, when we got the drum set, he hadn't played in probably 20 something years. So he's just kind of going off whatever he did. And all he liked playing was, again, was just 80s and soft rock and country. Mine and his music tastes are polar opposites. Which, aside from country, we do like the same country stuff, all the old crap. But as far as like rock music, yeah, it's night and day. He knows of these 80s bands, but it wasn't his thing. He liked more soft rock, or I don't want to say pop, but I don't know. He's more country oriented, I guess you could say. So
Yeah.
I just went on a whole ramble.
No, that's good.
Just
It's
giving my
good.
whole backstory.
Yeah.
I guess okay. Again, but back to I guess to you the same thing as far as how you started your guitar endeavor. I kind of know a brief little piece of it, but kind of just where it's been such a short time, how you got from nothing to kind of what you're doing now.
Yeah. Wyvern, are you controlling the chat good here, sir? I don't think you have it turned on to where you can see all comments, Wyvern.
I guess I could do this while I'm at it.
Yes, Brian is the guy who was just talking.
Make sure. Oh, okay, there we go. Now I can see I got it pulled up on my computer too, so it's all bigger.
It doesn't let you see the comments on the screen?
I can see it, but I'm old, I can't see that far away.
Oh.
So I got it all pulled up on my little
Yeah.
side thing, or my actual PC setup, I should say. That I don't. It just collects dust nowadays.
So, what are some of your favorite bands?
I get a lot of hate for it, but I'm a big Five Finger Death Punch fan. That's probably one
Hey,
of
me
my.
too. Me
I
too.
I, I mean, granted, I mean, I don't. People's like, they're pro. Oh, they're pro military. They're pro this. And it's like, okay, that's fine and dandy, but I like their music. I mean, I thought they're. I mean, granted, they don't have the same original drummer. I think I don't know. I think he started having back problems, so he just couldn't play anymore. But I know like their singers had his fair share of issues throughout the years as far as drinking and fighting people
Yeah,
on stage. But I mean, I always liked their music. Five Finger Death Punch, Avenged Sevenfold. I mean, I was a big Papa Roach fan. That was one of the first concerts I'd ever seen was Papa Roach.
that's
Which,
awesome.
granted, some of their songs, I mean, I don't know. I feel like they've kind of tried different sounds throughout the years, getting away from the more, not want to say punk rock, but like the new metal. I don't even know if they were considered new metal, but getting into like more of the pop side of rock to try to keep up with today's. But I mean, their older stuff. I mean, their first couple albums were just no skips. But in today's time, I mean, obviously, I'm a big Sleep Theory fan. Sleep Token,
Yeah.
some of the songs are.
Yeah.
I mean, I can listen to them, but to me, it's you gotta wait. And it was actually funny. I seen this TikTok of it's what it's like being Sleep Token's guitar player, and so the guy's sitting there with the guitar. Okay, 1 minute in, about 2 minutes in, he's still just standing there. 4 minutes in, he finally starts playing, and at 5 minutes he's done playing. He's back to all the the electronic stuff, and um, I'm actually getting into Slaughter to Prevail. I mean, it's a little bit heavier than what I typically listen to, but I mean, the music's cool. It kind of reminds me of like a Lamb of God, which I always liked Lamb of God, but I can never. Anytime I think I can, okay, cool, I can play the song. I get behind the kit, and it's like, yeah, no, I can't play it. I'm not even close. You know, they're, they're. I can't even think of his name. I know his last name's Alder, but I can't think of his first name. But he was a ridiculous drummer too, and just as his patterns and his creativity was just ridiculous. I mean, I think all metal artists are very underrated.
Oh
To
yeah.
just it's okay, cool. All you do, you guys scream and play loud and whatever. But if you think about what really goes into it, I can only imagine like a Lorna Shore freaking drum sheet. It's like just how fast that guy can play, and there's probably just like shit everywhere. It's like I couldn't even fathom figuring that his stuff out. Even I haven't listened to him actually, but I mean their drummer is ridiculous too. What's his name? Austin Archie, I believe is, but it's just ridiculous. And it just the time some of these people put into just whether drums, guitars, the screaming is just you don't. Some people are born with it, I feel like, but just the people who've really had to start from scratch to get to where they're at is it's just mind blowing, and people don't appreciate the time they've put in. Or even what is it? I think it's Slipknot's drummer. He's won national
Yeah.
contests. All or even national worldwide contests all over the world. Just these different big name drum con, and then to where he played with I can't even say sepul whatever.
Sepultura?
Yeah. Then he went into Slipknot, and it's just he's living living his dream. Um, I mean, I like Slipknot too. I can only play a handful of their songs, but I really learned a lot of my patterns listening or learning their songs as far as like what they call them fraction fills is what they call a lot of what metal fills are, and that's just kind of a staple. I mean, if you can do them right, they sound wicked, but I can kind of do some, but I do my best. All right, just keep going on these rants and rambles.
No, it's good. Somebody
Uh,
wants to know who's your biggest inspiration as a drummer.
Man, maybe early on, like Neil Peart. And what's sad is I knew Rush, but I never knew his name. So there's a guy on my bus. He's like, "Oh, do you like Neil Peart?" I was like, I really don't even know who that is." "Dude, you play the drums. You don't know who Neil Peart is. He's one of the best ever." And it's like, "Oh, my bad. Again, I didn't know names back then. I just knew the
Yeah.
bands, and that was it." "What's up?" "Oh, oh, okay. Are you getting drinks?" "Cool. All right, whatever. That's cool." That's so early on Neil Peart, I would say, but then just I mean, R.I.P. It sucks that he died, but there's really a lot. Just depending on the music I'm trying to play, I kind of have just different little people. I wouldn't say there's one person I tried to model. Um, just because all the people I like are just so damn good, and I'm just nowhere near like that talent. I think I'm a good intermediate advanced, but like feel like that's kind of like my cut right there. I mean, there's a lot more people that can just whether metal, jazz people would really jazz and like Christian drummers just really piss me off because they're just for no reason they're just so talented and for music that doesn't require that much that shouldn't require that much skill or
Yeah.
and it's just like Grayson Newcomb. I think that's his name. I see him. I think he plays for Sepultura now, but he does all kinds of music and he can do it all any genre he can do it. He's just it's just ridiculous. If I hope that answers that question. I kind of again another little ramble.
Hey, Peyton's here. Wyvern disappeared. No, Wyvern's still here. Somewhere.
A wyvern
Yeah, Wyvern.
and his overly loud bass.
His overly loud bass.
Or John Bonham. Yeah, John Bonham was really good. There's the what do they call it? The Bonham triplet. I believe that's what it's called. It's just again even to play. It's a simple 1-2 with your hands and one on your feet, and it's just so how he played it was just clean. And it makes it look effortless. It's just the easy stuff that people make easy. It's what's the most annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I'm trying to think. Even like I'm not a big fan of Green Day, but I thought their drummer was really Trey Cool. I just like his name. I mean, I'm not a
He
you
has
know,
a name.
Green Day. As they kind of they're kind of more very expressive on their left side of views, but not to get political. But just some of the his drumming itself is for a punk band is I always thought was pretty good. Just I don't know, just and for a bit, not that he's a bigger guy as far as like weight wise, but just the speed that it or just the endurance you need in your wrist to just keep going. It's I can't do it. My stuff I get tired. I was even where I try to do all these I try to make all my videos in one day to try to put out for the week. I'd be running out of deal. Okay, let's try Everlong, the Foo Fighters song, and it's just nonstop, just
Oh
and it's
yeah.
hard. I mean, you get to the first chorus, and it's like, okay, well, that's that. I'm gonna keep it moving. Okay, okay, I'm tired now. That's usually when my country songs start to kick in. When I just can't keep up with the rock and the metal anymore. Okay, I'll switch to the country, just switch switch the vibe a little bit and even if on a guitar stand, but there's some wicked stuff on the guitar players that are country singers, whether they're or singers and just the artists themselves. It's just you wouldn't think of as of from a country band once you really start to break it down and whatnot. Like Brad Paisley or Keith Urban are really good freaking guitar players, but they're just in a country band or they're country artists. But they do all their lead stuff and sound. I mean, they got I think Brad Paisley. I don't know if he's got his own guitar. I know he's got his own like model. If I don't, I hope you know who Brad Paisley is, but
Honestly, I've heard the name, but
oh man, very good country guitar player. But singer. He's his own single artist, but he's his own guitarist. But I'm pretty sure he's got his own line of um whatever or line model, however you would signature series, I guess you could say. I thought about buying one just because I like Brad Paisley, but then it would just sit there and collect dust. Every night, our guitar it just sits in the hallway every day. Okay, okay, I'm gonna learn something. I walk past it. No.
Come
Maybe
on,
next
if
time.
Wyvern can do it, so can you.
Yeah, I got to keep up.
If Wyvern can do it, you can too.
I got to secretly learn so that way I can just let me grab this one and just make it look like I don't know what I'm doing. You know. We'll just have two. We'll transition him to the drums, and we'll just have two guitar players.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
And keep him in the back.
Hiding with the fog machines.
Wyvern can't I can't even speak. Can't gatekeep Lear. That's funny. I don't know. I was drawing a blank, but I guess I already asked inspirations. Do you have a favorite guitar that you would like to own that you don't have, or would you like to at least play
Ooh,
on?
that's such a tough question. One that I would love to have is the Jiva Ghost. It's like the white one, but it's like 3,000 something dollars.
Ooh.
Like that's expensive.
So Jiva's the brand, or is that the model?
It's the model. It's an Ibanez.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
okay. So,
Nita Strauss's signature.
uh, I was actually listening to her. She's a wicked guitar player too. Actually,
Oh
aside
yeah.
from like her actual solo projects, are just you wouldn't expect it. It wasn't what I thought when I started listening to her, and it was whatever. It was wicked.
Yeah, she's awesome. We got to see her and we actually got to meet her and she was really nice too. So
Wow, that's awesome. I don't think I've never met an artist. I lied. I've only didn't meet them. They were the first again. Back to the first concert I went to. It was a band. It was a small band. It was called Burn. It was Burn Halo, Papa Roach. I want to say Buck Cherry and Stained.
Stained. Ooh,
I want
that's
to
a good
say,
one.
and this was I was eighth grade. No, yeah, eighth grade. So 20. So if I graduated in 2013, so 20 or 2008, 2009 maybe. So this was ages ago. And but the band Burn Halo, I guess that was back. They were out in the outside the venue just selling CDs. Back then. And it was cool, but they're cool people. I lied. I did meet it was a Michael Jackson cover artist. He was like he goes just he's a big enough name. He goes Vegas. Basically plays at big casinos and does big venues. But the makeup is I don't know if he could actually sing, but he could damn sure dance. And he had the
Oh,
look and so he was actually down in the casino lounge and I'd actually had a few too many drinks. So this guy was sober. He didn't drink.
oh no.
And so I'm just like following this guy around the lounge bar area, just trying to just talk to him. And I was just I had a few too many, just having a good time. And I'm sure this guy was just wanted me to leave him alone.
Oh my god.
It was fun. It was a good show though. Have you met? I know you've met a lot of artists, but any like notable aside from Nita Strauss? I don't want to discredit her, but like kind of real bigger named, or I know you guys see a lot of smaller local
Um,
bands.
I guess you could say the singer for Deadlands. I forget her name. It's like Casey, I think. Casey, I think's her name. Yeah, because she was with Nita Strauss, so we met her like at the same time that we met Nita Strauss.
Oh, that's
And then
awesome.
we met like a bunch of smaller people, like the singer for Daedric. She's really cool. Like the local bands,
Yeah.
a lot of the local bands too.
So in some local, granted, you don't know what kind of performance you're going to get, but the energy is usually pretty good from like these smaller, whether it's at a bar or like these smaller venues. The vibes are always, kind of just it's like that not retro, but like grunge stuff, like everyone's in your face, kind of just mobbing around kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, we did meet Jeff Tate's daughter. I forgot about that one, and we met one of his guitarists
So
too.
Jeff, who?
Jeff Tate,
Who's that?
singer for Queensryche.
Oh, I heard the band. I don't. I know of
Yeah.
them. I think I've only whatever song it was either Guitar Hero or like Rock Band. They had a song on there, and that was
Yeah.
that I know the name. That's about as far as it goes for me for them. Actually, did I see? It might have been on the marketplace. It was like it was something to do with. I don't know if it was I know maybe a replica guitar or it was something I seen on the marketplace that had something to do with them. And I was like, okay, because I always had a weird name. Like I know the name of the band, but then when I read it, it's like, what am I reading? It's just a weird, weird spelt name kind of thing. Queensryche, is that right?
Yeah, Queensryche.
Okay. Do you have a favorite band? Yeah, what is band? I know we kind of touched
Oh, that's
musicians.
such a hard question. Like a general idea of like my favorite bands would be like Stained, Breaking Benjamin, Dawkins, and Van Halen, just for like general. But lately, I've kind of been getting into some stuff like My Chemical Romance and Pierce the Veil, like kind of like that emo
Oh, you're
kind
going
of
through your emo phase.
stuff. Oh,
That's right.
that's
That's
funny.
retro too. It's not a phase, mom. And some of those, in those era band, My Chemical Romance, going, Asking Alexandria, A Day to Remember. I wish I could go back to when those were bands were kind of at their peak, the Warped Tour era,
Oh yeah,
and just like relive that because I thought, okay, I was never into like the screamo stuff. I thought that was whack. That's too heavy for me. Again, like Five Finger Death Punch was like at the time was as heavy as it went for me. Yeah, he screamed, but he had some good vocals. And that's what would come on the radio. You didn't hear a Day to Remember on the radio, at least where I lived. It was either a mix of classic rock and some modern rock. There was no real heavy stuff. It was kind of like what's the station? 97.1. Was it the Eagle? So it's kind of basically picture that station, but see, what am I? So I'm 30. So 15 years. It was literally the same crap. It's the same, Metallica, Motley Crue, pour the same classic songs with just a dabble of modern stuff. But even then, it was mainstream modern stuff. It wasn't like the underground stuff or your screamo stuff. But and I wish I could go back to that era and just kind of live like that Warped Tour, you know, thing.
yeah,
That would have been awesome.
that
Crowd surf
would.
and just the whole. I'd love to go to a festival. Granted, it looks like it sucks sometimes. It just all the people, if it rains or the bathroom situation. Just sometimes it looks like it can be a complete mess, but just seeing all the bands and just all the different stages and whatnot, that'd be wild to go to. I was like Rocklahoma or Crew Fest, Not Fest. Some of those bigger ones I always thought would be pretty wicked to go to.
Oh yeah,
Now half the time, every time I open TikTok, it's some random festival, and it's like, okay, yeah, I know all the bands, but it's
yeah,
like, where did this festival come from? It's like there's you just don't, and that's what sucks about today's time. It's you just don't hear a lot of like the publicity or the what's the word I'm looking for? Just the advertisement, I guess. The
yeah,
networking, like you just don't hear about them unless you're kind of intertwined in that network. It's like you'll never know, or even like living in as big as DFW is, like a band could come, big name could, unless they're like selling out AT&T Stadium, you're not knowing they're coming through.
yeah,
And I'll see things all last minute all the time. This band, people I like, man, like why didn't I know that a month or two ago? I could have prepared myself for it, but it's I don't know. It's just crazy. Just coming from where I came from in a small town, you knew what was coming through because it wasn't much of anything. If it wasn't the NASCAR race, it was some kind of concert, but you knew about it because that was the big revenue makers of that area. And then here, there's just so much going on, so things can just come and go, and you just kind of just get lost in the sauce with it all.
yeah.
Which, just speaking since you mentioned Dawkins, there's Breaking the Chain. There's a song that was in the Nightmare on Elm Street. Or is it that song? No,
Uh,
Dream Warriors.
yeah, Dream Warriors.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's when I seen Breaking the Chain. I got them mixed up, so I was saying, okay, cool. This is the song I actually like. I know it. Listen to the song. That's not what I thought. It was a good song. It just it wasn't what I thought it was.
yeah. Dream Warriors is such an awesome song.
Music video is cool too.
Yeah, it is.
And that's the thing that I kind of that sucks about music is the music videos. Unless you're really watching that band, music videos. That's just not really a huge thing. Well, they'll
Yeah,
make them, but it's not blasted or nobody watches MTV because it's literally ridiculousness 24/7. VH1 is basically obsolete. All these music channels are kind of just no one watches cable TV much, so it's like nobody unless you're on like Vivo or YouTube. you'll never see a music video.
Yeah.
Um, those are the good days. Music videos, whether it was hip hop, just what they came up with, just or it kind of just told the story of the song, I guess. Because there's a and it's off subject, but there's a Reba McEntire song that I would like to watch the music video to, because I've listened to the song a million times, but like I get lost, like the song kind of loses me in the story. So I'd love to see kind of what the like the how the music video portrays the story.
Yeah.
Just irrelevant, I know it's not. I know that's country music, but same gist.
Wyvern, what are you in here talking about? I'm so confused.
Alkaline,
I
yeah.
don't know what he's in here going on about. I think it's about Green Day.
Oh, they're still talking about Green Day.
I think they're still talking about Green Day, actually.
I knew I shouldn't have brought that up.
Set Wyvern off. That's funny. So what's something you'd like to get better at with your playing on drums?
I was like, I mean, yeah, obviously technique. I mean, because there's a lot of every drummer should know a basic paradiddle. It's
Yeah.
just a right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, left. It's basic. That's a basic stuff you learn in the beginning, and where I didn't, um, learn that way. Just that's why I took lessons when I got back into playing, just to kind of get back into the fundamentals and just my technique and um again, even with my feet, just or even like the independency, like that sometimes it takes us to do certain patterns. It's just okay if I know I got to keep a certain pattern with my right hand, but okay, and with the offbeats with my right, yeah, sorry, my offbeat is my left hand, but then doing something totally different with my both my feet. It's just some people got it and some people don't, and I kind of, depending on the beat and the melody I'm playing, sometimes I got it, sometimes I don't. But really, I'd say just technique, and then just my the cleanliness. I mean, there's a lot of times whether I'm playing by myself or when we're rehearsing, there's some stick slapping going on, or there's I'm not really paying attention. And I go to transition, bam, I'm hitting the bottom side of the cymbal, and my stick goes flying. It's the little stuff. Um, that I should, at this point in my playing. Granted, I know everyone makes mistakes, whether again your side, my side, singing. It's going to happen. But just it's the little things that I shouldn't be doing. We play the same set. I shouldn't be making those bonehead mistakes, or it's like where I don't always play it verbatim how I should, and I try to throw my own little pizzazz, and it's like, okay, I'm more caught up in the pizzazz versus staying in the pocket. Just trying new things just to see what sounds goes. Thankfully, all the I don't know what you can hear on your end, but where I got all the pads everywhere, it's okay, cool. Let me. Half the stuff I do is improvise. Granted, I know that's not what it's going on in the song, but it kind of helps me stay, um, not necessarily stay on beat, but it just kind of helps fill the time instead of just doing a basic. I'm just doing a little extra, but I know like where the pads mutes it all. So, granted, I might not do it in a live setting, um, especially because I don't know. It's been what are we might have only did one or two run throughs with before we put all the muting pads on. So I don't even remember what those drums sounded like as far as the actual heads themselves.
Yeah,
If they're tuned right, I just don't remember. It was so loud the first couple times.
it was really loud.
But it's really just technique, mainly my feet. I really want to build the my feet technique, whether it's the double bass or just stuff with the hi hat. The little accents. But if I could clean that up, and I really, again, I should invest in a practice pad. Just little things I could do at home was where my kit is. At my parents' house. I mean, I don't know. It's just those. That's the part that about drumming that does suck, where it's harder to practice. I mean, yeah, I could
Yeah,
easily have a set of sticks, and my drum instructor said, if you can learn how to do, let's say, like double strokes on a pillow, if you can learn to do it, if you can do it on a pillow, you can do it on anything. Just because that pillow has zero rebound. So if I can, bam, you build up your endurance, and then I go, they say yes, or a book, beep 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 beep
yeah,
beep beep, beep like slowly, introduce things that will give you a rebound. And I always thought, okay, maybe if I have a good snare, back to the equipment, if I have a good snare, oh, bang, I can do drum rolls, no problem. I go get on the stairs and I try to do it, and it's just I think I'm doing it. All a double stroke's very easy. It's just all about your control. And if you're not controlling it right, it's just going to sound like crap, or it's basically going to be single strokes. And you think you're doing doubles or whatever, trying to do a. It looks easy to when I'm watching people do it, or like marching band people piss me off too. Just all the just slinging their sticks around, but just that technique and fundamentals is what I really want to get to before I get on another rant. And again, okay, I can on the flip side for yourself too. You're what would you, as you go on through time, try to perfect?
Definitely my speed and like the cleanliness of it. That's like the main thing I'm trying to work on right now. Like I've been trying to learn like more difficult solos like No More Tears, Crazy Train, kind of like stuff like that that has like the fast parts in it because I want to get it like as clean as I possibly can. That's like one of my weakest points, I think, is like my speed and like the cleanliness of the speed, and definitely writing. I definitely want to get better at like coming up with stuff on the guitar because that's like another weaker point of it.
What do you think? 'Cause I was watching back to Lamb of God, the two guitar players. They're talking about whatever riff they created. So where they have a lead in your rhythm. Do you how does it go about building a solo? Is it kind of just something that fits the sound of the song or the melody of the guitar, or kind of like how would you gauge what to write or to play if you're trying to create your own stuff?
Um, so it kind of goes like based off the chords, I guess. Like, well, when I wrote the one for the Jared Dines thing, that solo that I did, it was like in a set key. So like I
Mhm.
knew the notes that I needed to stay in, which that helped a lot with that. And then I just kind of did what sounded cool and like took pieces out, put them back in, stuff like that, till I had it the way I wanted it. So yeah, it was a long process though. It took like several days. I worked on it for like 3 hours a day, I think, something
So
like
when
that.
you say keys, I mean obviously I know that the key is like I would assume the sound. So if
Yeah.
you're so what like I don't know, can you kind of like break that down a little bit? Okay, if you're playing a heavy like I don't know if this is relevant like a drop. I'm going to go based off tuning. So the only tuning I can think of is just a drop D because that's all I ever hear is just drop D tuning. So how like what is that? Is that your key or is that just your tuning?
That would just be the tuning. The key is all the notes that you can play. So like a key has like 7 notes in it. So it's like a specific set of notes. That's like pretty much what a key is.
Within your little section, I assume. So is that based on
Yeah,
like, where you're at
without
on the
like
guitar
the
neck,
whole
or is that
song.
just your notes itself? Oh, okay.
Yeah, the key is like the whole song, but that's like kind of the notes that you have to stay in. But when you're doing like a solo, it helps to like the chords that are playing behind the solo to like kind of stay in the notes of the chords that are being played to make it sound more like melodic and stuff.
So basically, you couldn't take if you were playing whatever. You couldn't just. I guess you could if you really felt like it, but it wouldn't make a lot of sense. But if you were to just do a random solo, it's does that to make the writing part of it more difficult? I assume if you're trying to jot it all down and to remember it, does it kind of like confuse things if you're trying to build it out?
I mean, honestly, I don't know. Like as long as it sounds right with what's going on in the back, then it's right.
Huh, uh,
I mean, it makes
makes
it a little bit easier, like knowing the key and stuff and knowing the notes they're like you're supposed to be playing. But if it sounds right, then it's right. I mean,
no, and I get that because I mean I've heard songs that's kind of what is it? Just one off the top of my head. We'll take Fallout Boy's version of "Beat It." Granted, the solo is a little different, but is it because like the tuning in the guitar is a little? Obviously, he's not. Wasn't it Van Halen that recorded the original?
yeah.
Was it just the solo, or was it the whole song? Do you
I
know?
think it was just the solo.
And so I guess with Fallout, what was that John Mayer? Um, so that is that kind of essentially. So that would change the solo itself too to kind of match what he's
Yeah,
playing, like the sound of it, where it's not obviously not going to be a verbatim because it's not 1980, whatever it was when Van
yeah.
Halen wrote the song. or wrote that part, but some of those interesting. I know, like when it comes to covers, people do their own little spin, but then it's very rare if you see something that's verbatim, unless me. I mean, like like Shine Down Simple Man was, it's obviously a softer song, anyways, but it's like his voice is pretty close. I mean, I guess. I mean, he's got good high notes, and I don't know, that stuff's, and that's why I wish I knew more. I was more musically rounded, aside from just even the drums. I'm very limited on my knowledge when it comes to, again, your tuning, your time signatures, and all that crap. Then you try to build that with, okay, hey, I've got this cool guitar part. Build me something. Okay, well, yours sounds like this, but if the bass line's going something a little differently, where are we all at? And that's where I know I'm going to struggle until, unless again we figure out a sound, kind of you building that first, that common ground, and then hopefully to expand from there, and I can eventually learn different techniques, accents, and depending on how the the trajectory of the sound evolves. I don't know. There's just a lot I still need to learn. Is on my end, and just musically as a whole, to really make things flow versus just giving you a basic beat for your wicked guitar parts, and then there's me. Just kind of trying to just keeping up. I'm hanging on to your guys' rope.
Wyvern, are you still going on about something?
War Thunder. I do not know who War Thunder. I feel like I've heard War Thunder.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with whatever that is.
I feel like I've heard the name. Music, no, I couldn't tell you. See, I wish I was the breaking news man, Dan. That'd be pretty sick. That's a sick name. And here, I kind of, not that I stole my name, but I kind of borrowed it from a different artist. Well, not, it was a rapper. R.I.P. He died too. Well, he was shot and killed. But my name, that's where I got my name from. Was his name was Snooty Wild. Is Snottie, I believe. Pretty sure it's Ttie. He was a rapper, and that's where I kind of, okay. My name's pretty, Snooty Wild. Okay, it fits. So it's not, no copyright, no
Yep.
plagiarism. It's totally different. All one word. And just remember kind of coming through those days. My Instagram names used to be so off the wall. That's just it was just the most random stuff. And I've had this name for better part of 10 years. Thankfully, I think I have kept it. And it hasn't changed in all my, whether I went through video games or the music stuff or just social media as a whole. I kind of just rock the Snooty White. Most people get it wrong anyways, but
Yeah.
2 legs and 2 wings. I don't even know what that means. Wyvern's like a dragon, but has
Oh,
two
cause
legs.
yeah, cause a wyvern is a dragon that only has, like, back legs, it doesn't have the front legs.
Oh, that's funny. What did I just see? Oh, okay. I would want to go to Rocklahoma. I've never been. I've never been to a big festival, but that would be pretty wild. In fact, I don't even know if Rocklahoma's still a thing. Honestly, I really don't know.
Yeah.
Wyvern Dragon. Oh, Bodale. That name cracks me up every time I see it. Bodale.
Bodale.
See, what else do I got? Have you ever? So I guess what would you? I've heard you talk about, like, there's 7 string guitar. I know there is there more than a 7 string. I know there's obviously your 6, but
Yeah, they go, like, up 9. I think nine's probably, like, the most used, but I've seen some that go higher than 9 even.
so when you have like your double neck guitars, I assume that's 2 totally different tunings. I would assume,
Yeah,
to a
sometimes
degree.
with the double necks, like, one of them will be, like, a 12 string and then the other's, like, a 6
Okay.
string. That's usually, like, what I've seen them. But I think some are like will be like bass and then a guitar too.
Oh, that's
I think
pretty
I've seen
sick.
something like that too.
I can I mean depending on your normal I guess six string or your Gibsons or Les Paul. I mean they're pretty girthy, yeah, but I can only imagine you just got this. I mean, especially you're a smaller person. I feel like that's your whole torso. I can
I
only imagine.
honestly, I
Then
wouldn't even know what to do with a double-necked guitar. I wouldn't even know what to do with it.
what was that? Damn, I lost my train of thought. But then just I feel like you just I mean, granted, then just the mental capacity just to remember. I mean, granted, I assume most people only do it for certain songs for whatever it is they're doing. So I guess it can be easy to remember what you're playing or what your purpose for having it. But then you think of real musicians. We'll take Geddy Lee, who he's sitting there singing, playing the bass. He's got his foot pedals, he's got his piano. It's just like talented people really just irk me who can just do you're just doing two and three different things at the same time, and it's just
Yeah,
all just sounds epic.
yeah.
Or even was it the White Stripes?
Mhm.
That's the name of the band. I get the White Stripes and then the Seven Nation Army. I get the names mixed up as what's the song
Oh,
and what's the band, but they're a duo, which you would never think. So I always
yeah.
heard I heard they were siblings, and I heard they married each other once. I always never knew the backstory on them. I was kind of strange people, but I don't like the song. I mean, I've heard the song so many times
Yeah,
throughout
same.
the
Honestly, same. I get so many requests for Seven Nation Army, I'm like, "I don't know it."
just I played it so much I forgot. I think you ever listen to ska music? You know what that is?
I've heard it. I know it's like some of the bands, I guess, but, I've never listened to it.
Because my friend, well, again, my friend at work, but he's a couple. I say a couple. He's like 8 years older than I am, so he's a little older. But that's his style. He likes that. I don't even know what you'd consider like a mix of punk and whatever. All the weird, accordions, all that weird crap. And he showed me some few songs, and a couple of the bands that I've heard I didn't know they were ska music or ska genre. But it's just again just something that cool music. It's interesting to hear, but is it not definitely. So the drums are cool. The rest of feel like the rest of the music you got to be more of an acquired taste. I don't think anyone it's. Would I go see them a ska band live? Probably not. But some of their drums are pretty cool. Just more like a fast pace, but like still uh still intricate to a degree. Still interesting, but just just a different style of music. I don't know. I'm going to go on another rant, and I don't even know what I'm even talking about. I'm just throwing stuff out there at this point. Just it's just stuff that's popping in my head.
Yes, Mike, you were arguing with a 15-year-old. Oh my god.
Dang, okay, this guy lives in the town of Oklahoma. That's pretty sick. I was arguing. Yeah, how's that make you feel? I do it all the time. Um, let's see. My mom used to Misfits. I mean, I've heard the name Misfits. I didn't know if that was an actual band or if that was more of a Fishbone. Yeah, okay, Stars. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like it's ska. That's I feel like that's just more of like a beach town kind of. I mean, if you're actually listening, I know you haven't really heard much, but if you're to listen, it gives you like beach town vibes,
Oh,
like
okay.
California or Florida, wherever. Just picture beach stuff.
So what kinda games are you into? I know you play, video games and stuff.
I've always been a big, obviously Call of Duty's been always my main. I mean, I used to be real big into Madden. Um, when I joined the army, I started kind of getting out of Madden, but going into um 2K like basketball. Because especially I'd play. I like doing because you could in the basketball games you could like create your person and play like with other people's created people, or you could pick your team, whatever, and you do like a whatever the Lakers versus the War, whatever the other team picked. And so I had a bad habit. especially when I got out of the army. I'd be drinking, and I get on the game. I start start feeling a little bit. I like to run my mouth a lot, and so
Oh
I'm
no.
and so I'm having too much fun. And, whether I'm losing or I'm beating on someone, it was fun. But then I kind of it got to the point to where even Call of Duty's in the same cycle. It's the same thing. There's only so much you can change. The graphics can only get um so good. I mean, but yeah, I mean, if you got a terrible TV or a monitor, it defeats the purpose. But Call of Duty is I wish I would have got into Halo, back in the day. I just never good at. Cause I was a lot of like Halo 3 was a lot of hip fire. I was never good at the just the jumping around hip fire. It wasn't I was terrible. I took the thing I was good at, and I didn't even get into like the streaming side. I mean, this was probably Black Ops 4, so that was 2000 and this was pre-pandemic, so like 2018 maybe. And that's when I worked security, and I had nothing to do. I was up and down YouTube, and I was like, dude, like people like do this for a living, like making videos. And I've been playing COD since I was in middle school, and I was in my mid-20s, and I'm just finding out that, and I knew of like gaming organizations or like the competitive side, but I never knew like the content creation side was a thing. Or just even YouTube as a whole, like people are getting paid to make these videos. And where have I been? Like me and my cousin used to do all this ignorant, stupid stuff, growing up. But I could be, Logan Paul level. I mean, I doubt it, but I mean, the things we came up with, and it was just, Call of Duty was always my main thing. And I get into the streaming side after, it's so saturated now, like going through the pandemic, and just nobody had nothing else better to do. So it's like, oh, hey, well, I'll become a streamer. And I went through my phase, and it kind of just fizzled. I didn't. I think I had two separate, because it wasn't Twitch. I never became an affiliate on Twitch because that was hard to get people to like download Twitch and follow. Unless you could build a following through Twitter was the best tool you could use for um, putting yourself out there. This was like pre TikTok or early stages of TikTok, but post Vine. And I lost my train of thought. Oh, I switched to Facebook. So I thought Facebook, okay, cool. Everyone's got Facebook. So I created my gaming page, and I would just share my streams and my videos to my Facebook. So that way, whoever, okay, my mom, for example, oh hey, Snoddy Wild's going live, and X, Y, and playing Warzone with Joe Blow and Joe Smiley. But then I would take clips. If we won a game or had a good kill, bam, okay, there's my YouTube video. But it sucked as I would have to either write it down, or I'd have to remember, okay, I got X, Y, and Z kills, or I won this game at an hour and a half in. So then I'd have to go back, sift through the whole video, pull my
Oh
clips.
yeah.
I hate video editing. I'm god awful. If you were to see any of my like actually like COD videos, it's literally cut, copy, and paste. There's nothing. I've tried doing little edits, or it's the most, I don't want to say immature, but the most bare bone videos you could see. There's no intro. There's no little TikTok edits. The little whatever. There's none of that. It's literally just raw gameplay. Couple of not cutscenes, but I'll cut. If I died or whatever. Okay, cut to the next little part. But god awful. I didn't. I got I've gained more subs recently from my music stuff than I did the 4 years I did Call of Duty crap.
Yeah,
Because I
I've
mean,
yet
it's
to
hard.
click on any of your gaming stuff. I'm gonna have to do that now. I'm gonna have to go watch some of those
I mean,
videos.
some of them are funny because I tried to be a better entertainer. If like early on, like I just me and my friends, either my army friends or because you'll tell the difference. Because if it's more redneck sounding, it's me, my cousin, and personal friends. But if it's more proper and more cussing, it's all my army friends. So you'll tell very quickly the demographic, or not the demographic, the people I'm playing with. But it was those are probably some of the, aside from my time overseas in Italy, my like that Warzone era through the pandemic was probably some of the best nights. It was work, gym, and I'm on the game for 4, 5, 6 hours a night. Then wake up, do it all over again. And my friends, we had a group chat. Hey, who's getting on? Who's oh, you're playing with who? Okay, who? I'll wait on you. You wait on me, and then we just hours. Now that we all got a little older, I don't have any kids, but they had kids and branched out. So it's like I don't even really play much anymore. I mean, I might jerk around here and there if I'm bored, but it's like I don't have that same drive, and it's sad, kind of like as you go through time and it's just seeing what you were. I don't want to say passionate, but it was just that you're kind of past that point in your life of, hey, well, I don't have time to be on the game for 4 hours anymore, or I'm just I can't keep up with um these kids nowadays. I'll have a decent game, then the next lobby I'm just getting beat on. I can't even get out of the spawns. It's just ridiculous. With the algorithms and the matchmaking, it's zero fun. Call of Duty wants you to have zero fun. We want you all the microtransactions, buy our skins and our guns, but we also want you to have zero fun. If you're good at the game, you're gonna have zero fun.
Um,
And it's funny, like the uptick in like the VPNs, and I don't want to say cheaters, but your big time streamers will, whether they're who are not a career, but who are surviving, all their money. They don't have a job. They just get on the game, so they're going to get on at 2, 3 in the morning, get put in some random lobby across the world, beat on some foreign people, and then hey, cool, I got my clips for the week, or I got my video. But it's like, bro, like play with me, play the lobbies I play in, and then we'll have a discussion. Like I'm not knocking your skills, but I work. Okay, go all day at work, go to the gym, bam, just want to relax. Just bam. I can't even do that. You're just getting beat on. It just makes you want to put one of these through the wall. Like it's just like zero fun. Aside from video game, I mean, I was big into like the wrestling games way back when. Your SmackDown versus Raw. I have kind of gotten back into wrestling as they switched to like the Netflix, and I try to keep up. John Cena's doing his farewell tour. I'm kind of just back on the bandwagon. Um, but really, I mean, Call of Duty was always my main. I mean, certainly, I don't think I've ever beat a Grand Theft Auto. I kind of get halfway through, three-quarters of it. I was more interested in killing people or just driving around shooting people, or the online side of when that started to take off, and in 4 and then 5. Grand Theft Auto 5 was that 2013 it came out, and there's it's Rockstar's kept it alive this whole time because they just keep updating the game, adding new crap into it. And it's almost 15-year-old game, and here by the time the new one comes out, like only very few games can have that long of a shelf life, and it stayed relevant. Whether these other people creating their the servers and doing the role playing, and I mean, I never got into that kind of stuff, but it looks fun. Being cops and robbers and all that kind of crap. And I think you got to pay to get in those or get invited, but it looks fun. That was like my gaming stint of, or kind of all basic stuff. I mean, Fallout. I was never like the RPGs. I was never very. I didn't have the attention span. Your Fallout, your Skyrims, your Assassin's Creeds. I always wanted to get into World of Warcraft because my favorite South Park episode is the World of Warcraft episode. And I remember recently, I downloaded the game again. I beat the trial, but then it's like, I guess now it's a subscription based. And so, like back when I had first bought the game, it was $20. Bam, you got 5 discs to download. But I had dial up, so I wasn't playing nothing. I couldn't even play RuneScape. That's how terrible dial up was. But then I don't have the urge to pay for a subscription for something I know I'm not going to play. It looks fun. It's just one of them games you can just get in, bam, do a few quests, call it a day. But I'm cheap. I'm just cheap. And depending on what your what your I don't know if the subscriptions are in tiers for the game, but $20, I don't want to pay that every month. I barely want to buy the past couple of years. As I've gotten older, I take my own personal day. I'll buy the new Call of Duty. I'll take a day off work. I'll just play the game all day because I know I can probably count on 1 to 2 hands how many full days I'll play it. Just because as I'm getting older, just time gets away from me. So I'd always I think about 3 years in a row I've taken a day off strictly for that. I'll pre buy or preload the game, and I'm not going to work. Oh man. Oh no. Okay. At least they're apologizing to Wyvern now. That's pretty funny.
That's kind of Lincoln's thing, though, telling Wyvern to shut up.
Oh, then he
Kind of what he
apologizes.
does.
Oh, okay. At least he's used to it though.
He's used to it.
But didn't you get a donation? Did I see that right? That was pretty cool.
Yes, that was Timmy. Thank you so much for that, Timmy.
Timmy. What did I say? Timmy. Oh, Timmy B too cool. That's a tongue twister.
Yeah, it is.
I like that. Timmy B too cool. So kind of like these cool names. It's like,
The best name I've seen on here, or my personal favorite, was Rhythm with the Tism. That
oh,
that was the best. That was hilarious.
I'm just gonna sift through Doctor. I mean, and what's funny, I mean, just the creativity people come up with, or just
Yeah,
if they have a cool name and it's um okay, you're just gifted with like, okay, I already got a cool name, but now it's good enough to where I can transform it into something even better for a stage name or
yeah.
whatever. Just again, I don't have like Wyvern. I didn't know what that was until 2 minutes ago.
I don't think most people know what it is, honestly. Most people don't even know how to pronounce it.
Wyvern. I was, yeah, I forget that one.
Yeah.
I make that up. Oh, Wyvern. Oh, excuse me. Trying to, trying to think if there's something else I haven't touched on. Guitars, musicians, bands, genres. I'm trying to do some pondering. Okay, well, it does have the tism a little bit.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Oh, wait, is that a Thunder logo I see? Yeah, we're going to the finals, man. ODB. I'm reading that right. So pretty sure that's a Thunder logo. That's pretty cool. I cannot wait to. Well, granted, I'm not as big of a basketball fan. We're getting off topic of music, but I'm just going to go on another rant. But it's been a long time since we've been in the finals. 2012 topic. How do you put a band together? I mean, I guess that's really just finding people who know how to play or
Yeah,
want to.
that's pretty much it, but it's really hard to find people, though. Like, it took
Yeah,
us forever to find you, dude. We were looking for a drummer for, like, a long time.
and I had tried like previously. Like I'd see depending on, and again, I would base this off my own skill level. Again, I'm not good with a metronome. I'm not. I've never did a. I never did like the in ear stuff. So it's like I'll see these people. Okay, we're looking for a drummer. This is what we play. Must be experience in X, Y, and Z. It's like man, like that's just I know how to play, but that's just not what I. It's not what I know or not what I'm good at.
Yeah.
And or I'd send a couple people just some of the same videos I'd sent y'all, and or even country, country bands. People were looking for okay. I put out a few country songs, and it was just I guess it wasn't. I guess I wasn't good enough. So it was cool, like when you guys finally reached back, and I was not skeptical, but I was, yeah, I didn't know what to expect. This was my first time really playing with people who were we weren't just messing around. I had another friend at work. He played like more like southern rock and country, and but he ended up getting in a motorcycle accident and messed up his vocal cords. But he had been playing guitar and singing for years. Had a lot of music written, so it was unfortunate. I never. Oh my god, I hated the name like the band name because he had one that was good. Okay, cool. Let's just rock with that. But he came up with Swamp Donkeys. I'm like, what is
What
that?
is that even?
I'm like, dude, like I understand like your passion and your creativity, but yeah, let's go. Okay, give it for Swamp Donkeys, and I just gotta like kind of walk on. You know, thankfully, we played a few times at the Platinum Music Complex, like the open jam night. We did that a few times, and we played at my house. A few, and he had some good stuff. It was really just we just kind of freeballed it. Like where he would play, give me do his vocals and his guitar, and I would just I kind of just vibe off what he was playing. It was fun. I mean, I really enjoyed it, and it sucked that he, the um, he got hurt and he can't really sing anymore. But
Oh, that sucks.
I think he can sing the low. He can like kind of because his voice is a little bit deeper than mine. But which not that my voice is deep by no means, um, but he can still like sing lower notes. I guess I don't know if he'll ever recover from it. He's not even sure, but that sucked.
Yeah.
On his end, that was my first, a crack at a real band putting something together, and that's why I was kind of skeptical on the music side of the creativity. Like I didn't know what to expect, what you guys were about, whether so that's why okay, cool. Started with covers, no problem. I can learn the song, bam, most of them I knew, easy. Then then we switch it. Then that's how I'm nervous about whenever that time comes to hey, we need to get some originals out, and it's okay. Well, I hope all my parts don't start to overlap and sound the same. That's what I'm nervous about,
Yeah.
and that's why I've been trying to keep up with a lot of newer bands, and I kind of like trying to model, not model, yeah, model myself, kind of like with Sleep Theory's drummer Ben Pruitt. I like his flow. I mean, he's got good breakdowns, and nothing's very overly complicated. It's good. It flows. It's everything's different, but it's doable. I guess you could say for me to follow and to kind of learn from. And then just with the equipment I have, whether at y'all's spot or at my own personal setup, it's stuff I can play, and it's not. I don't need 40 cymbals everywhere. And cowbells would be cool. You never have too much cowbell.
Yeah.
um, back to cowbell. I like playing Spanish music. A lot of Spanish stuff has the cowbell or the blocks, and that's something that's I've seen a lot. Even Spanish drummers are just ridiculous for no reason. A lot of their beats are the same. There's this one. I think his name's Pablo Drums. He has like a Neil Peart sized drum kit, and it just pisses me off. He's just ridiculous, and um, I lost my train of thought. But just that kind of music, just what you can do with it, great, to keep stay in time and just keep the flow, and especially on a live show, I can only imagine like these are it looks like he's playing 4, 5, 6, 7 minute songs for hours. Like how do
Wow.
you? I don't know how you just keep. That's just where the endurance and back to your practice and the time you've put in to just keep. You just don't get tired. He's a younger guy. He's probably in his 20s, 30s, but um, I don't know. It just pisses me off. I hate it. But Spanish music is fun. I mean, it's kind of boring, I guess, from the guitar standpoint, but the drums they can be very, very intricate. And that's where a lot of the having independence in your hands come from. Whether it's so it's either if you want to play real tight, it's okay, hi hat, then the other hands with your block or your cowbell, and it's then my bass is doing one thing, or I might be doing the accents with my hi hat pedal, and it's hard. I mean, I can do some basic reggaeton. I mean, reggaeton beats is literally the same thing across the board. Every reggaeton song, whether the
Yeah.
artist is literally the same.
It
And I
is. Yeah.
and I'm a big Carol G fan. One of the biggest Latin pop stars, and she's got this guy. It's um Ovi on the drums is his name. I'm like, uh, put me on. I can do that. I can do the same.
Yeah.
I can do that. Like, put me on a feature. I
Yeah.
was like, it's does not take much, but then getting into your kumbayas and kumbaya. That's a very white way to say it. Cumbias and just all your different stuff. I mean, it's hard, and I give props to a lot of like Spanish drummers too because they're just ridiculous. Spanish metal, gospel, and jazz. Some of the best, whatever. Some of the best things you could. Some of the best players. Is that me? Am I echoing?
I don't know. It like did a thing where it like reconnected or something.
I don't know. There. liked Green Day.
Wyvern's secretly a big Green Day fan.
I thought we got past the Green Day stuff.
Thank you, Jacob.
Oh, I think I'm playing through one of your other things. Or do you have one thing? Or do you have two screens?
I just have the one screen going right now.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I did that when it like reconnected. That was weird. You should all go check out Brian's YouTube channel and subscribe to him. I have the link in the description of my channel. It's Snoddy Wild. All of you need to go subscribe to Brian.
I think I just checked earlier. I am at 72 subs. We are on the rise.
Yeah, they're going up.
Slowly, and I was finally, because I can only see like so much of the analytics on my phone, so I finally got on my computer and just seeing all the. I mean, I don't want to say green, but all the green, you know, everything's going up. So
yeah, that's good.
We're getting somewhere finally. But I have some ideas for. I typically do all my songs on Saturday. So I have some thoughts, and hopefully I can continue to keep my trend. I kind of stopped a week or so ago. I kind of just ran out of time. I didn't get a chance to make everything I wanted to do, but I hope I can keep doing. You know, I typically do 2 to 3 days in a row of videos, and then I do shorts. I kind of just keep everything going. But that's what I'm planning.
Yeah, you've been doing great with your YouTube.
And I've been lagging on the TikTok. I used to be real into the TikTok. I say into the TikTok like I'm old. But I kind of slowly just transitioned to you trying to get that going and doing my best.
You're doing great. All right, Brian. Well, thank you for coming on here. I really appreciate it. This has been fun.
Yeah, that 30 minutes turned into a good hour.
Yeah, well, it was like an hour to 30 minutes. Like, that's what I meant. That's usually how long I have people on here. It usually ends up being about an hour.
Oh, well, it's actually a good time because my phone was about to die.
Oh, yeah.
It was a good time, but I appreciate it. It's my first time ever doing something like this. Hopefully I can do it again. It was fun.
It was fun.
I try to be.
You need to go subscribe to Brian now and watch his drumming videos.
Please, I'm begging you.
Go support Brian. Well, thank you, Brian.
I guess I'll let you get to whatever it is you're gonna do. I will see you guys Sunday.
See you then. Thank you.
Of course.